Well, hello and good morning. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It is great to see you. It has been forever. It has been forever. I am so sorry about that. Today I think is going to be a day of catching up. I would like to say that today's the day we start looking at the Rug Cooking Magazine, the new copy that just came in the mail. This is volume number 35, 36, number 3, November, December 2024. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, let's see how it goes. I've hardly opened it yet. Um, I want to do it justice. It is not a long issue. It is 80 pages. Um, let's see how it goes. Welcome back, everybody. It's great to see you. I have been busier than a moth in a sweater closet. I'm going to say it. And this isn't the day that I have been on live lately. It's been Mondays and Fridays. Um, but I was speaking on Monday, and I kind of wanted to rewind to the last couple of weeks that have been crazy and chaotic. And I wanted to catch up with all of our good stuff between now and then. So let's see. Karen, oh, my volume's up. Good. Karen, hello from brisk and blustery Milford, Michigan. Great to see you. Heading home tomorrow to Colorado. Kaz, see, not a lot of people are on live. I think it's because I'm doing the odd time. Let's see what happens. Kaz, it's great to see you. I owe you a longer message. Good morning from windy but very warm Wisconsin. It is now 70 degrees. I'll keep an eye on viewers. I hope everything is okay too. I put the thing up, I think, in the Facebook group this morning, but I know it's not my usual day. And I want to talk about that too because normally I would run a Wednesday show, and I'm kind of batting around the idea of going. I'm still planning on always doing the Monday and the Friday night for cocktail night. So coffee time on Monday, cocktail night on Friday. I'm kind of batting around the idea of either bringing back the Wednesday show as a show, or hosting a Zoom on Wednesday myself, because I feel like Kirsten's Tuesday Zoom is getting large, and I think the Thursday Zoom is getting large. So I'm just not sure, because the more sort of outreach, the more places I'm out there talking to people and talking about rug hooking, and the more rug hookers are coming and showing up, and that's great. But I just want to be sure that our social communities, also the social network, can support the people who want to come and hang out on Zoom. There's a lot of people who are just at home and would love the company. So I'm thinking about that. Let me know what you think about that, or if you have any ideas. But in the meantime, I would like to catch up. Hopefully this is recording. The screen just looks different to me than it normally does, which might just be a Wednesday thing. So I'm going to rewind because I know not everybody was on for the Coffin time. What was it? What did I call it? The Coffin time sampler, something like that. It was a live show. Kaz, I'm sending yours today. It was a live login thing for, I think, last Friday. Crazy Quilt Coffin, that was it. And it was a class that featured different techniques that I was kind of spontaneously filling in the design of the Crazy Quilt Coffin. Robin said coffee time is unlisted on YouTube. Amazing. Okay. Hold on. Stay with me and let's see if this works. Right. Hang on with me 1 second. And you know what that means? I'm going to talk to you while I work this out. What that means is something has been updated, because that is not how it goes. That's not how it works. Let me try to bring everybody in. Hold on just a minute. Stick with me and I can edit this out later. Let's just give it a minute. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you so much for letting me know. I figured something weird was happening. I'm going to check back to see if you can still see me. Yeah, it says unlisted. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I'm going to give that a second, and let's see what happens. I logged in through Facebook. I see. All right, let's give it a minute. Yeah, something must have changed. I just love this culture of, I'm being sarcastic here. I love this culture. Can you still see me, by the way? Of dealing with computers, right, for everything. I'm driving in my car and I realize I'm going the super long way because I've had an update while I was sleeping, and now it says no highways, right? Stuff like that. It's just really amazing. You can see and hear me fine. That's good to know. Robin, there you are. Okay, so that might, Robin, thank you for letting Kaz know. She let me know. And now the gate is open. So we'll see. It might be that people are not watching because they thought that the show was locked. I'm going to have to be really careful about that. That's a new thing to have to watch out for. Sorry about that. So anyway, back to the Crazy Quilt Coffin sampler. Um, the other night, it was lots of fun. And I took out this pattern that I had that some people bought or downloaded with the event. And I did a few kind of spontaneous fills to different parts of the pattern. So in other words, I started off, I said, when I started the program, I said, let's make this easy. Let's start with just some basic punching and hooking. And then I immediately did two difficult things that I never really show live. One of them, chain stitching with a rug hook. And the second one, doing a piece of standing wool that wasn't a quilly. So a fairly complicated heart-shaped standing wool feature that was embedded, sewn onto the backing fabric, and then hooked around. So we were doing, Sandy, good to see you. Sorry about that. We were doing some different techniques than we normally do. I did a little bit of punching, did a little bit of hooking. I think it was really fun, and it should still be there if you're after that event and you want to see it. I was on for 4 hours, so it must have been five to nine. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me there. And it is still there if you want it because it is not Halloween yet. Incredible, right? We are still, I can't believe it. We are still trucking along. So I want to catch up on some events, right? Some of the things that I've done in the past. But first, let's move to the future because tonight is a busy night in and of itself. I'm opening up my phone, which hopefully, oh, Robin, you wrote me. Thank you so much. Yeah, hopefully, okay, we're getting some more buddies in. So hopefully that was fixed. I'm so sorry. For those of you who are joining us now, apparently the video was posted as unlisted. I don't even know how to do that, so I wouldn't have done that at the get-go, but I did know how to fix it, and it's fixed, and I'm sorry about that. So just so you all know, tonight is the night that we have our book club. In case you were also reading the book that's called The House on the Hill by Elizabeth Hand, it is a horror book. I picked it specifically for October. That is tonight. Our book club meeting is tonight. And that is at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I already put the Zoom information out on YouTube. Hey, Kathleen. And it's there. So if you're not on YouTube, on Facebook, if you're not on Facebook and you want to come to the book club tonight, send me an email and I will forward you that Zoom information. So that is coming up tonight. Also tonight, hey, Courtney. Also tonight, so that's at 7 p.m. From 5 to 7, if you are in the Ribbon Candy Writers Club, right, our writers group, I will log on at 5 and see if anybody is logged on. You know, that's a group for people who are working on book projects or working on articles for Magpie or Rug Hooking Magazine or anything, and you want some help or input, some information, specific information about publishing, publishers, cost, things like that, or you want to actually work on a book with the intention of Ribbon Candy publishing the book, whatever you mean to do, we've been getting together on a fairly regular basis until recently and hashing out book ideas and breaking down chapters for each other and saying, that sounds good, but you know what would make it even more accessible for beginners is if you did this too. So it's just this kind of free-form group meeting that we do from time to time. I have not been able to do it for the last few weeks because of my calendar, but I will log on tonight, and I do have the Zoom information for that. And if you would like to log on for that, let me know. I'll open that up at 5, and I will have to log off at 7 when I start the book club up. So both of those things are coming up tonight. Something else that is coming up, Kathleen, I'm just checking. Kathleen, are we a go? Can you give me a yes or a go? Absolutely for sure, 4 p.m. tomorrow. And then I'll announce that too. There's a whole bunch of things that are on the calendar right now that we should talk about and sort of dissect together. But let's start by relaxing because it's just been a lot lately. So I missed you on Friday because on Sunday I taught in Connecticut at Madison Wool, and I'll be there again next month to do Native Tom, which is the sort of Native American style turkey as opposed to like the traditional big fat Macy's turkey. And it's an all yarn project. So that's coming up next month at Madison Wool. I'll be there for that. But this past weekend I was there on Sunday and we just did beginner sort of hooking, a little bit of punching with the sugar skulls. And that turned out to be such a lot of fun. I brought a bag of extra wool because it's hard to color kit the sugar skulls because I don't know if people are thinking literally about, they're black and white, right, when you select them. And I don't know if people are thinking, oh, I hope I get like a pistachio pumpkin or a turquoise pumpkin or a neon pumpkin. And I likewise don't know if people are thinking it better be an orange pumpkin. So it's hard to kit. So I brought kits for everybody, and then I brought a big bag of wool so people could go back in and pull some different stuff. I also brought some big pieces, big, huge pieces of like roving and bat. And we were experimenting with that too. I was curious to see, since hooking with bat is really one of my favorite things to do. I think it has now usurped hooking with pantyhose as my favorite thing to do because it's so fast and it's so mushy and lush and easy to work with and fast, right? Again, fast. So that was a lot of fun, and it was incredible. All three people who practiced with it did it really well and got like a huge section done in a quick time. So just saying, it's a lot of fun going to those sort of non-traditional, even though it's wool, it is a non-traditional material. We tend to think about wool as wool strips, right? I'm wondering how noisy those guys are right now. 2 houses down, they are doing a roof, and I can see the shingles flying, right? That should be the name of a song. I can see the shingles flying. And I don't know how much noise they're making. So let me know if that's noisy, because I will, okay, Kathleen, I will get up and shut the door if so. I was just getting an anti-menopause breeze on my face from the outside, just in case, just in case. So Kathleen said yes to, we had been talking this morning about the fact that, I'm going to talk about the Haunted Rug book for a minute, just for a minute. The Haunted Rug book has been a huge source of stress for me. It turned out to be wonderful. And there's about 90 people involved in that book. And it is, with the cover, it's 200 pages, which is what it has to be unless we're going to bump it up to the next price tier, which is significant. So it's a big book. And I'm very happy with the way it came out. A lot of people, and hopefully I've communicated with you, if you're one of these people, a lot of the chapters I had to cut and hold for next time, partly because of the chronology of getting the chapters in, partly because some of the chapters, when they came in, I wasn't sure they would come in on time, and they didn't come in with text, which is absolutely fine, but it does mean I have to write the text. And, when I hit my second or third morning at 1:30 or 1:40 a.m., I just thought, I can't do any more text. We're going to have to leave it at this shape and look forward to next year launching The Mystic Carpet, which will be another Halloween book, another seasonal book that will come out a little bit earlier next year, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So the Haunted Rug book came out. A lot of you ordered it on Amazon, and you got it the next day. I ordered hundreds of authors' copies. I will never do this again in exactly the same way. And if you were on for the Coffin night that we were doing our sort of ad-lib hook-in, I mentioned that for the Haunted Rug book party, which was just wonderful, the books weren't there. So it was very unnerving and a huge stressor for me to go into the Haunted Rug book party without the Haunted Rug book, because I saw a huge part of that event being having the books out on the table, signing the books, and talking about the book. So that was really rough. It did turn out to be an amazing party, and I will alert everybody when it rolls around next year. We will definitely do it again next year. I might do it at a different venue in Stockbridge just because the cost was exorbitant. It was beautiful and fun, right? Still absolutely possible to go to the Red Lion and to eat and to drink in the tavern and hear live music. But I'm kind of shopping for other venues in that immediate area, because the general feedback from that event was that it was super fun. There was lots to do. A lot of people did the lit up pumpkin thing, or went to the Shaker Village, or went to Norman Rockwell or Edith Wharton or Herman Melville, or just into Lenox to shop, or Great Barrington to shop, or Pittsfield to shop and do, art museums. Williamstown. I mean, it's North Adams. Like every town has a distinct and beautiful main street, very highly charged art community all through the Berkshires. So it was the perfect spot for us, and it was a great day. One of the other kickers that got me, and a lot of you know this, and a lot of you saw this, was that when I pulled off of the exit, I got pulled over by the cops right near the inn on my way there. It was already so stressful. And I was going 50, and my GPS said the speed limit was 50. So I wasn't even above the speed limit. It turned out the speed limit had changed 1 block back, and my GPS didn't note that yet. So I didn't end up getting a ticket. But it was another layer of insanity on top of a book party without books to arrive and have literally everybody at the party go, I just saw you get pulled over. In a way, it's funny. At that moment, it was less funny, But we will do it again next year. So for those of you who are thinking, I know I have a piece in the Mystic Carpet book next year because I put one in, and I know Deanna cut it from this one. I mostly cut ones that the person had more than one. I tried to, if someone had submitted one thing, I tried to get as many of those in as I could. But it was a big book and there were lots of bits and pieces. And the bad news was I had to cut some of it. But the good news is it definitely looks like we might have a tradition of putting out an autumn themed book every autumn. And that would be wonderful because that could coincide with an autumn party every year. So what you can count on for sure, two things, that there will be another Halloween book. It will be called The Mystic Carpet. That's one thing next year. And the second thing is that there will be a party the third week of October that is centered around Stockbridge, Massachusetts. You can definitely plan on those two things. If you are a future planner, you might want to just jot those down and be thinking about that in advance. And the reason I want to stick with that same week was because so many people both went to the book party, Hook In, and went to the Fiber Festival right over the line in New York State. It is 1 hour from Stockbridge to the festival. So, I mean, it was an easy shot, if you had a car, if you drove, if you rented a car, if you're riding with other people, right? It was a good opportunity to do two super fibery things in one weekend. Next year will also be the first year in a really long time that, Heavens to Betsy, the brand and the shop in New York State, next year will be the first year that she doesn't have her Halloween hook in, that she traditionally has had every year for years. And I know that they routinely get over 100 people at that hook in. So next year will be the first year that that doesn't happen. And I feel like that might displace a lot of people who are within half an hour of where we were in Stockbridge. That's one of the reasons I'm looking for a venue that might be bigger, because I think next year we might be seeing some more people coming in, and we want to welcome those people. We don't want to say, sorry, it's sold out. We want to say, absolutely, you should come, and you are very welcome here. So we'll be thinking about that and planning that for the future. In the meantime, I'm not working on it just yet, but be thinking about whether you want to participate in the next autumn project, the Mystic Carpet. And here's why. I'm going to make a big announcement. We've got only a few viewers on this morning, but I know this video will be watched tonight when people come out of work. I'm going to make a big announcement right now. First, Kathleen, let's do our thing. And then I'll make a big announcement. So Kathleen has graciously agreed to do a show with me tomorrow where we will be talking about the Haunted Rug book. Tomorrow is Halloween. So we're going to run a show that's kind of a pop-up extra show at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we are looking at, Kathleen's going to put the program together, no pressure there, pick some of the patterns out, and we're going to look at them, talk about the makers, the techniques, talk about the various things that have to do with some of the projects respectively, just looking at a few of them, right? We can't look at 98 projects tomorrow afternoon. And I've got my kids ready to go trick-or-treating as soon as the, first sort of shadow of darkness hits. So we'll be on for maybe an hour, hour and a half, something like that. But as soon as it's dark, I got to be out of here and taking those kids trick-or-treating. But it will be an extra fun thing for us to do together tomorrow on Halloween, October 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be looking for a link for that, right? I will put that up. I'll put that up in the morning because I can never put the link up the day before. This platform doesn't work like that, or else I'm just a utter boob and I don't know how. Regardless, tomorrow at 4. So the reason I brought up the haunted rugs, which were on display at the book party, I brought them with me to speak this past weekend, not to the class on Sunday, but I spoke on Monday and Tuesday to 2 different groups. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And I brought the rugs with me to show at those events. Man, if I have one of your rugs right now, and obviously I'll return it. I had it up for the haunted rug party, and there have been at least 4 different groups of people who have seen your rug and loved your rug. Whoever you are, whichever rug is yours, every one of the rugs that I have been sent that went up at the exhibit, that I've been holding up in front of groups when I speak, people are loving your rugs. So I just want to say that I can't emphasize enough there were so many people who are beginners who participated in the Haunted Rug Book who are like, this is going to be my second piece. I don't know if it's going to be good enough. There are great beginner pieces in this book. They are all great. And the ones that I have in person, some of those are beginner pieces, and they have been beloved among groups, you know, who I'm speaking to, because not every group is filled with people who are number one hookers, have started yet at all, or are advanced in any way, right? And it's so, I think, challenging to keep putting sort of the most gallery-oriented, fine, and I don't mean the best or the prettiest or the technically best. I just mean there's so many pieces that are so amazing that can put beginners off, because for a beginner, looking at a magazine, looking at an exhibit, coming to a class and not being a hooker at all and thinking, is this for me? Those people can get immediately backed up by everybody's project being amazing and awesome and perfect. And there's no entry point for people who are approaching for the first time. And that makes me very nervous. So I try to be sure that there are always projects that are sitting around, that are in books, that are in Magpie Times, that are absolutely for someone who's never done it before. And they're figuring it out as they go along, because it will alienate too many people if they keep stumbling upon things that look like gallery magazines, as opposed to sort of craft periodicals where it says, here's how you do it. There's got to be a middle ground there. Judy, great to see you. Great to see you all. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. But this is where I'm going next. All of those rugs were beautiful. That's where I'm going with that. And we'll look at those tomorrow with Kathleen at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we have a pop-up Halloween show, and we're actually talking about the Haunted Rug Book. All of my copies of the Haunted Rug Book were sent over the weekend, and the last one's on Monday. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, it is on the way. And I am so sorry for the delay. I will never plan on there being a 3-week turnaround again, because it just wasn't enough. And the books were late, like really late. So I have to plan next time on books being really late. Next August is, as you all know, Catherine, great to see you. Next August is Sauter Village. Now, you haven't heard me say those words for a while, right? You haven't heard me say the word Sauter for a while. You've probably heard me say villages, because look what's behind me. The cute little village of Alfred, where I spoke on Monday, New York. So I haven't talked a lot about Sauter Village, and if you know me personally, and I think a lot of you do, and if you watch the show, you know that I had some trouble with Sauter over the years. I was very eager when I first started, in 2020 and running shows and stuff. I was very eager to be a part of it. And every year I would say, can I come? Can I come? Can I come? Can I come? And it was always, you can't come, you must be invited, kind of like entering a Masonic lodge. And so I couldn't come. And then one year I finally was asked to come, like out of the blue. I was approached to come. And I spent a lot of time putting together the program for that, the class for that, the class description, everything that was needed to have the class, the show, and the gallery talk that I was invited to do. And then I ended up finding out, if you remember, that I wasn't doing any of those things. I found out as people who were watching the show said, I don't see you on the list of things for Sauter 2024. And I said, of course I am. This was all planned last year, but I wasn't. So I'm pretty sure that it was at that time that I was very naughty. And I remember I said something like, somebody said, are you going to be at Sauter this year? And I said, if John Forsyth came back from the grave and was 52 years old, like he was when he filmed The Trouble with Harry by Alfred Hitchcock, and he was sitting at Sauter Village at a cute cafe asking for me, I would still not go to Sauter Village. So I might have to back that up a little bit, right? And I'm always willing to eat my own hat, right? I have to back that up a little bit, because I will be at Sauter Village in 2025. And part of the and so will you, I hope. Part of the reason is that the leadership has changed, and it is no longer sort of a community of ruggers who are planning Sauter Village. It is Solder Village itself that's planning Solder Village. So the person who is now in charge of it got in touch with me, having seen all those emails that I sent. And poor girl, she was like, I'm a little bit scared. I'm a little bit scared to reach out. And she said, I can see what has happened from this stream of emails and the kind of door shut on my part, like, please do not be in touch. It's a hard no forever. I wasn't petty. I feel like I was very restrained, all things considered. So anyway, she said, listen, this is how it is. We really want you here. What can we do to make things right and have you come in 2025, right? Not that I'm a queen or a princess or whatever, but I have a big base, and they realize that. So, not that I'm suggesting they have all ulterior motives. I think their hearts are always in the right place, but I think they'd like to see a big turnout. And, from everything I've heard, the turnout has been on the decline. And I said, if I'm going to be involved in Solder Village, I have to know that it is not going to continue to be regarded as kind of a get-together of friends, like a friends reunion. It really has to be an event that speaks to people who are beginners, who are attending because it is the largest rug hooking event of the year, and they want to learn how to rug hook, right? People cannot be surrounded with $70 yards of wool. And all of these expensive, $1,200 Townsend cutters and $80 hooks, and it's just not what my brand is about. It's not my philosophy. It's not the way that I work, and I don't want to attach ribbon candy hooking to anything that feels like you enter it and you're gate crashing somebody's wedding, or alternately you're brand new and you just don't get how to get started, right? Because it's just, again, a little bit off-putting. I'm not saying that that's the same experience for everyone. I'm just saying feedback over the years that I've gotten is that it has become a little bit cliquey and a little bit like that. And she said that's exactly what we're trying to not do this year. We're trying to open it up, make it an event that's great for beginners, that's great for hobbyists, that's great for people who knit and crochet and are thinking, oh, I'm kind of local. Maybe I can use my supplies and do this craft too. I'm going to go check it out. And they can check it out. And there is an obvious entry point where those people can come in and say, "Ooh, look at you doing that. I think I could do that. Can I try doing that? Can I try doing that on your frame? Can you walk me through doing this?" This is, I feel, what we've needed for a long time. If this is the representative event every year that represents this entire craft in every corner of this craft, then it has to be accessible, it has to be friendly, it has to be open to all people. So it sounds like it'll be a little bit different this year, and so I will be participating to the extent that I am putting up a gallery show. I will have 40 pieces up at, and I will obviously be there. Solder 2025. Can't believe I just said that. And yep, it'll be 40 pieces from both the haunted rug and maybe the haunted rug, and a few pieces from the Mystic Carpet. It's going to be very hard for me to choose what pieces, and I'm not going to choose the pieces alone, right? I'm going to get some help from the people at Solder, and it's going to be a group selection thing. It's not, I'm not going to go you, because I just can't. I think they're all fantastic. But we will choose 40 pieces for a 40-piece show, and it'll be a lot of fun to be there. I'll do a gallery talk one of the mornings to start the thing off. And I'll be there, and I'm not going to say I'm going to vend because I don't think I have the energy for that. But I might do some little thing with books and just basic supplies, something like that. But I am really looking forward to going. I really am looking forward to going. And from what I know about Solder 2025, it will have the best of before and more new stuff. And that's the most that you can ask for, right? When you're kind of transitioning the vibe of something, you want to keep the best of the last, right? You want to keep that stuff. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you do want to bring in some new stuff that is going to appeal and attract a new generation of rug hookers, right? Because for every person, not to be maudlin, but for every person who isn't able to come to Solder in 25, 26, 30, 35, 40, right? I'll be crawling on my hands and knees if I'm lucky by then. For those people, there has to be stuff there for them too. That just makes logical sense, doesn't it? And if those people aren't showing up as new participants, there is no event, right? And if that event is really like the poster, the event of our craft, it has to be there. It has to be good. It has to support the whole community, from all of the experts who've been going for 40 years to the people who just walk through the door and they're not sure if it's a crochet hook or a latch hook, right? So, Diane, good to see you. So hopefully that's good news for all of us, because that is big news. Um, Hopefully that's good news for all of us. And and that's why I bring up the next Halloween book, which I will not be working on yet, but we will be working on it probably starting at the beginning, well, in the spring. Definitely by the beginning of the spring, and I will make some choices about the rugs that I think are the most important to bring, just because they include either a technique that is new and different and something we haven't seen before, um, or I don't want to choose rugs that are similar to each other. So I'm definitely open to talking about this, receiving emails about this, people saying, I think you should use this rug or my rug or her rug because of this. I think it's a good example of this technique. It's a good example of fine hooking. It's a good example of primitive hooking. It's a good example of graphic design as opposed to realism, and vice versa. It's a good example of hooking with a non-traditional fiber, right? Any of these things. Always talk to me. Always let me know how you feel. I take everything in, right? I don't go next. I take everything in and think about it. And I can't make these kinds of decisions on my own. They're big decisions. So we're going to have to brainstorm on all of that together. But I hope that if you are projecting forward to next year, I hope that you'll come to the fall event. That will be our next book party, which will be larger, I think, than it was this year, because we were full. That room was full at the Red Lion in Stockbridge. So bigger space, more buddies. That will be the third week of October, but solder will be the third week of August. So those are two things to get onto your calendar in the relatively near future. Let me just take a sip and regroup myself here. It's good to see everybody. It's been a long time. I don't have coffee because I've had two. And I wasn't feeling good at all last night because while I was traveling, I I did a classic. I stopped at a gas station and I was really hungry, but I knew that I would be speaking soon, so I didn't want to pig out. So I bought a couple of those cheese sticks that are wrapped in salami. Do you know what I mean? And they're ridiculously expensive. It's like $4 for like two cheese sticks. It's like $2 a cheese stick with a piece of salami. I was desperate, so I got some of those. And then I arrived faster than I thought I would, so I left one of them in the car. And then like a full 24 hours later, I found it, and I was hungry again, and I was headed home, and I thought, oh, I wonder if it's okay to eat something that is wrapped and unopened, right? Because it was like wrapped in plastic. And I did buy it from the refrigerator section. I thought, I wonder if it's okay to eat that, because it's like meat and cheese. It definitely was not okay to eat that. It definitely wasn't. I feel okay now, but holy mackerel. Good start to my diet, right? Good start to the next diet. I do some stupid things and make some bad choices. One of my good choices lately has been to agree to do two speaking dates that were quite far away during a month that was already chaotic and crazy making for me. All of September and October were just, as you remember, insanely busy at Ribbon Candy Hooking. We were putting out new projects. I had a record amount of speaking and teaching dates, which is great, and that is exactly what I want. But that, coupled with the two kids returning to school, Teddy having problems being new at the middle school, Jossie having a lot of new problems and lots of doctor's appointments all over the place, it's all been a lot. But after I finished teaching on Sunday, I came home and packed my stuff up because I had a date to speak in Alfred, New York. I don't know if you've been to Alfred, New York. I didn't know anything about it. I looked at it on the map. I could see it was about 6 hours drive, maybe a little bit more. But that's obviously doesn't include stopping at Dunkin' Donuts and then stopping to pee and then having another coffee and then peeing. And it's a lot of stopping because I just can't sit there for hours and hours without going into that weird dimension of playing a video game in my head. And I'm like, am I still driving? Mom, good to see you. It's not my usual time, that's why. Not lately, anyway. So I headed out there to run the Frost and Frost. That's what they chose, the Frost and Frost program, where we were talking about using the idea of making stencils a la Edward Sands Frost and illustrating the poems of Robert Frost. And I have taught this before over Zoom. I modified it a little bit. I made it a little bit shorter because I figured in speaking to people in person, I hoped that people would interact with me. Um, Sometimes people don't, right? And it depends on how shy you are, what the community is like, right? They might not be in sort of the culture of participating, but I hoped that they would. So I had kind of a scalable presentation going that I could add one or two more poems if I needed to, but I had it kind of clipped so that I could interact too and visit people at their stations because everybody had drawing materials in front of them when I arrived. So I drove forever. I drove forever. And it was so beautiful driving along that southern New York line where I have never been. My tours never took me there. I've been through lots of Pennsylvania, but I haven't been to the southern part. I've been to the Catskills, right? Like with tour groups years ago. I went further. And I wasn't up north near Buffalo like 2 weeks before for Tigger. I was down at the bottom, driving through. I drove through this town called Wallkill, and I was looking for a bathroom. There happened to be a bathroom there, which was very good. But I kept gassing up the car every time I saw a gas station because I was afraid. I just didn't know how long it would be till I saw another one. So I just went and went and went, and I was keeping track of the GPS and my speed because in New York it's like state limit is 55. So that was stressy. I didn't want to get pulled over again. And yeah, I got out there, pulled off the exit, and I thought, I knew that it was going to be a small group because this library actually wrote a grant to have me there. And that made me feel a bit guilty. It's like, I feel like they used all their fire to have like this one event, It's a tiny library. But I knew that they were also full. By the time I was going, I knew that they were at least full. And I pulled off the exit and I thought, man, this is so remote. Where am I? And I still had another 10 minutes to go. And I'm like, wow, there's like no population out here. And I thought, oh, it must be that people come, from other places to participate in programs at this library. And then all of a sudden I pulled off into Almond, which was maybe the cutest town name I've ever heard. I pulled off and I ended up in Alfred, which is this town behind me. And oh my God, has anybody been to Alfred, New York? It is like, if you remember the show The Gilmore Girls, my all-time favorite show, it looks more like the Gilmore Girls town than the actual Gilmore Girls town. It is so cute, cute as a button. I could not believe my eyes. Honest to God, it was just small little town center. It appears there's at least 2 colleges there, maybe 3. But the little main street with, little kind of bricky main street, there is, the University of Alfred is in Alfred. And I drove by that campus and I thought, what a beautiful campus, because it's very, the topography is very dynamic, right? There's mountains and then it's low and it's high and it's low. It's very exciting landscape. But I drove by Alfred University and it was set into the land in a way that seemed so clever to me. It was right in the center of town, right on the main street with all of these old houses that looked so pretty and pristine and well kept, and everybody had Halloween decorations out on the lawn. The feeling was like festive and charming and cozy, like a one of those like murder mysteries, where someone stays at a B&B, right? And everything is cute and there's a festival happening in the town or something like that. It was like that. And I looked over and the university's right there. And the university buildings are kind of built into both the mountainside and like a little valley area. Like I looked down at the ball fields, like the playing fields, and the university buildings were kind of higher up and they looked very grand, like the city of Oz coming up out of the ground. It was really unusual, very striking. Drove by that into this town center that was all little bricks, terracotta roofs. Apparently it's like the terracotta capital of maybe the area or maybe the country, I'm not sure, but lots of terracotta tiles, which was a funny look because otherwise it looked like a New England town on steroids. It was so cozy. Cute Main Street, lots of places to shop and to eat, overhanging trees, right? Old elms and oaks overhanging, piles of leaves everywhere. It was as cute as a button. And I came around the corner and I found where I was supposed to be at the Box of Books library. And I parked my car and I walked around and I went in with some of the stuff. I had more stuff, but I didn't want to bring all my stuff because I knew it was a library and I didn't know if I was supposed to be bringing books to sell or selling anything. So I didn't want to assume I was doing that. So I just brought like my projection stuff and my. I went in there and they had in the room where they were having me. It's like a 2-room library, very very small. All of these extra tables put in there. It was like it was catered. Like they had all of this lovely food, things to snack on, yogurts, things to put like little Hershey's Kisses and granola to put into your yogurt, all kinds of drinks. It was absolutely precious. They had set up a giant TV screen so that I didn't have to use my projector because they were worried, even with the curtains closed, that it wouldn't be dark enough. Um, so they turned on the lights and they used the TV. So it was super bright and it worked great. Everything was so perfect. The group came in. It was, I think, more people than they thought, which was exciting. Everybody kind of squeezed in. I had stencils on all of the tables for this class, and the library had set everybody up with paper for drawing, lots of pencils and erasers, things like that. They had set me up with a giant whiteboard that I could draw stuff and erase it, which was handy because I always want to draw something and say, oh, you know what I mean, and then just draw it. And I could do that right there. It was so nice. And for that afternoon, we were reading Robert Frost poetry. We started with Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. We talked about the imagery and what the poem was about for each person and what was important to illustrate. And we moved on to some of Robert Frost's other amazing poems like Good Hours, A Girl's Garden, obviously The Road Not Taken. That was what we ended on. The one about the bluebird, the very sad one. We did a bunch that were all kind of fall themed, fall and winter themed. And it was such a great event. I loved seeing what people were working on. I loved looking out into the group and seeing people super, super engaged, right? Because that's why I drove all that way. People super, super engaged because we're talking about composition. We're talking about what works for hooking a rug, not just what works for a pretty drawing, but what would actually work for a hooked rug. So we're talking about a lot of technical stuff, and we're talking about, well, then what kind of cut would you use? What kind of materials would you use? What hook would you use if you were going to do that? On what backing? And all these conversations coming up. Well, what kind of frame would you use? Technical. Could I do this and this? But in between all those technical conversations, there were some people there who weren't hookers yet, or who were interested in hooking, who showed up. And it was amazing to look out and be reading these poems together and talking about what they meant and see these dreamy expressions on people's faces. It just totally got me, because I felt like this is super effective. Like everyone's feeling it, everyone's in the moment. People were making beautiful sketches. It was beautiful just to be there, to be a part of that, to have that time together in that afternoon. And then I busted out the Haunted Rug books, and people were looking at those and the rugs that I have with me from the show, and God, they were all devoured. Every one that I have, I took out, talked about. People crowded around, asking very specific questions about, oh, how did this person do this? What cut, for beginners, what cut did they use? Do you think they cut with scissors? Do you think, beginners have a lot of questions, as they should. And it's great to be able to be looking at from piece to piece, contrasting the different techniques, the different styles, and to be able to say, well, this is this, but that is that. And you can do either. So I feel like in that one stop, that there were a lot of new rug hooking converts, and some people who had been rug hookers who haven't hooked for years that said, I'm feeling it again. I'm feeling it. And I thought, yeah, that's what outreach is, right? That's what doing these dates in places that are not near me at all. That's what this is all about. And this is something for you to think about too. We talk about this from time to time. I don't think we talk about it enough. I'm playing with the strip as we talk, right? Doing outreach in libraries, in senior centers, in historical societies, in guilds for other crafts, right? Try to gate crash a quilting group right? They're always looking for other speakers, right? Say, hey, if you love doing applique quilting, why not talk about rug making or applique with wool, right? Cross them over to penny rugs or something that a little bit closer to what they know. Why not, right? That's how we get new people coming to this craft. But it is amazing how when you build it, they will come, right? If you say, I'm doing this in this place, people will come, particularly in a library situation where there are a lot of people at a loose end who would like to do something fun and they'd like to talk and they like to share. They like to have a conversation in a setting where they feel safe and they can give their opinion and say, oh, this is what I would do if I was doing good hours. I would have the man like this and I would have the houses like this, and gives us all something to think about and talk about. So it was a super, super fun time. And, when I was packing up and everything to leave, they said, will you come back again? And I said, absolutely. I would come back anytime. It was a long drive, but it was so much fun. Thanks, Mom. It was really fun. Oh, Sandy says agriculture. Sorry. Oh, there is an agriculture. Oh, is it an agriculture? It's like an agricultural university. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. They told me that there was at least one other college or university in that town because it's regarded as a college town, and I didn't know that at all. Sandy said, it's a 2-year school for farmers. Oh, that's perfect because that is a super remote area. How interesting is that? Judy says, being able to see that many styles of rug making in one book really gives new folks good grounding in all possibilities. That's it. That's it, right? So then the next day, oh man, yesterday, I ended up driving after the Alfred event. I drove 2 hours back, like the way that I come, and I stayed overnight in Binghamton, New York, because I was speaking in Vestal yesterday, which is right there. I was wondering, is that the Vestal of the Vestal Virgins, right? Isn't that like Hotel California, something like that? I've never heard a reference to Vestal other than that. So I was like, but yeah. So then I was speaking yesterday to the Pearl McGowan Guild in the belfry room of the church in Vestal, and I thought, come on, this is another impossibly cozy and cute scenario that we're setting up here, and it really was. And I thought, how many people could possibly be part of the Binghamton, New York Pearl McGowan Guild? And like, I don't, when they advertise these events, I know that they also don't know how many people will come. Um, it was a lot. I don't, and so a lot of things I learned yesterday in Vestal. I got there again. It was flawless. There were quite a few ladies there who were there with the freight thing that took all my stuff into the freight elevator. Up we went. All of the tables set up, lectern ready, mic ready if I wanted it. Everything just 100 hands, right? Make lighter work. All people all over the place helping out. It was just amazing. And I set up easily and quickly. Didn't get pulled over by the cops. Hey, now I'm setting the bar really low that I think like it's a good event if I don't get pulled over in front of all my friends, right? So, yeah, so I got into that event, and you can imagine it being me, right? I don't have a lot in common with Pearl McGowan, except to say that she will always be one of my great idols, because although I do not hook in the McGowan style in general, and in modern days the McGowan style is super varied. It's every style, but historically it was a particular style, wasn't it? It was the finer cut with leading heavily into realism and shading. Um, so I thought, I'm not before I even arrived, I'm not sure. Was talking about the Haunted Rug book, and I got a lot of messages saying, we're really excited to have you, and we've invited a lot of the local guilds and not so local guilds and groups. And I thought, oh, we're probably talking maybe 12, 15 people, right? Just judging from the area and population and everything. I don't know how many people were there, but I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy how many people were there. And I think they were surprised too, because they had invited some of their, they had just put the word out, and I'm not sure on what channels, but people had come from like 4 hours away in different directions. And there were people who said, I came, from the Finger Lakes. We traveled for 4 hours this morning, or Rochester. We really wanted to see the presentation. And I thought, whoa, okay, so something is happening, right? Because I'm at the McGowan Guild, and there are people who are traveling from 4 hours away in every direction, and I have nothing really in common in terms of style traditionally with the McGowan Guild and that style of hooking. While I have infinite respect, and I am forever in debt to Pearl McGowan for her decades of service to this craft, starting in the 1920s with researching and acquiring rugs and documenting, right, and shoring up that 19th century history, right, that would be gone were it not for her and her decades of heavy academic work. And were it not for generations of teachers who went out and spread the word and taught other people. Because while I personally feel that not every person benefits from having a teacher or a certification, I feel that some people do, right? I always feel that some people do. Other people don't. I don't feel that it should ever be a requirement or like some kind of test to enter this craft. But I do feel that that should always be available for people who are more technical and really want to know every part of the craft, all of the ins and the outs. They have been in that space for decades, right? So it is such a worthy guild, and the guild in Binghamton is guild number 1. So, I was very excited because it was a super warm reception, and I thought there's the possibility of hecklers, right? There's always the possibility of hecklers because I kind of represent the opposite or the new school of hooking, which is quite different. Um, and sometimes the message of loving both, loving all kinds of hooking, isn't clear enough or said often enough. But I felt so happy when I got in there, and there were so many people there who were so excited to make contact or say, I love this book, or I get the magazine, or I'm the one who put this into the magazine, or the one who put this into gallery night, and being able to hardwire these great connections with people in person. There's no substitute for that. It's just the best feeling being able to see people in person. And I got up and I spoke about the Haunted Rug book. And to Judy's point, I specifically was looking at chapters and projects that were very different from each other, from super, super primitive and basic. Some of the rugs that went to people, as I say, who there was their second rug hooking project, and I gave them a fitting piece to work on, to projects that were incredibly elaborate, and projects like Halloween paper dolls that Mandy Cornish did in Canada, that I would never attempt to do that. Not anytime soon anyway, because I'm just not that good. It's so busy. It's so detailed. It's so complicated. She actually added even more additional patterning to her version of Halloween paper dolls that's in the Haunted Rug book. So the examples that I had ran the gamut, in terms of realism, in terms of difficulty, color palettes, just being traditional and being completely non-traditional. I had Juliet Hassler's Bicycle Witch that she calls Under the Cone Roof, that she only used the scrubbies, right, that you crochet like Brillo pads with. She only used scrubbies to do that piece, like the scrubby yarn. We talked about all of it. We brought it all out. And I really dug in at one point. And I said, I am so glad that we are at a point with this craft, finally, where there are people who work in this style, right? And we say, look at you go. That is beautiful, what you just made. I don't have it in me to put 40 shades of pink in the same flower petal, but you did. That is out of this world amazing. You should be so proud of yourself. That's a work of art. And for those people to look at these people over here and say, wow, you've got a lot going on, right? You've got all kinds of surface variation. You are using everything, including the kitchen sink. This is a wild bohemian rag rug, right? Absolute polar opposites. Finally, we seem to be at a point, or we're pretty damn close, where we're seeing each other across that bridge and we're going, hey, I love what you do. Might not be what I do or what I like the most, but I love what you do. And for them, likewise, to turn around and say, I love what you do. It's different. It's new. I would have never thought to have done that. I'm not interested in doing that, but I'm loving what you do, right? So I made a real point of saying that because I felt like I had to say something that addressed the sort of tradition of Pearl McGowan and where I feel rug hooking needs to be if this craft is going to continue to have a future. So it seemed to be a good talk, and it seemed to go well. And judging from the feedback afterward, there's one woman who came up and said, "I've been hooking since 1995, and I haven't been excited since 1995, and I'm super excited today." And I said, "That's what we're doing, right? That's what this is all about. That's what all of these all the mileage on the car is about." And that was really rewarding, having a bunch of those kinds of conversations. And then one of the ladies brought over a woman who was, I'm not sure what her age was. She was an older woman for sure. And she came over on her cane, and she was standing waiting to talk. And I introduced myself, and I said, "Thank you for being here." And she said, "I'm one of the founding members of the guild, of the Pearl McGowan Guild, Guild number 1." Right. So she's one of the founding members, thinking this is early 60s. And here she is, still at meetings, right? And she said, "I didn't agree with everything that you said, but I respect you, and I love what you do." And I said, "I will take it." It chokes me up. That is the best we can do, right? We don't have to agree on everything. I think that's something we're losing in our world, certainly in our political culture. We're losing the ability to say, "I didn't agree with everything that you said, but I still respect you, and I respect what you do." And I thought, there we go. That was the ultimate endorsement, right? That was the ultimate endorsement, because she is one of the founding members of Guild number 1. And she perfectly heard and understood everything that I said. And I said, it's okay for us to disagree. That's what makes the world go around. That's what makes life interesting, right? As long as we disagree and still respect each other and like each other. That's what matters, isn't it? If we can do that in our tiny microcosm world of this craft, we should be able to do it in the larger world too. It seems so intuitive and obvious. Yeah, it's just not the way life is right now. Judy says, being able to see that many styles. Yep. And Karen says, respect. Exactly. Hi, Rita. Karen, you're right. Next door to me. What are you doing in Milford? Oh, Karen, are you in Milford? Did I miss that? Karen, you're in Black Forest, Colorado, right? Maybe I missed something. Maybe you're traveling. Anyway, everything went really well. I was really happy and proud to be able to, I totally choked myself up as usual, to be able to spread the word, not crazy Kool-Aid style, but to spread the word and to show this craft and to show the rugs that many of you sent to me, trusted with me, to put up at the Haunted Rug Book Show, to take with me on these current rounds of talking and teaching. And as a result, there's been hundreds of people in the last month, hundreds, who have seen, if I have your rugs, who have seen your rugs and loved your rugs plural. So I think that should be a good feeling, and it should be a good feeling for all of us, to know that people are looking, people are interested, people are learning, people are engaging, right? And a lot of these weird barriers and these weird sharp corners that were there for years, they're getting duller, right? They're getting duller. People are cutting the corners. They're coming across the village green and finding other people who they really love on the other side. And that's what's going to keep this craft going, because it is a small craft, right? It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. You're visiting your son, Karen. I hope your foot is doing okay. So this is what has kept me busy for a while, and a bunch of other things too, but that's just the last 4 days were those 3 events back to back, and then the weekend before the Haunted Rug Book event. So it has been wild and crazy, and that's why I haven't been here with you. So be thinking about tomorrow when we do our pop-up show. I will be here with Kathleen, and we will be talking about the Haunted Rug Book on Halloween. And on Friday, I will run, and tonight, if you read the book for this month's book club, The Haunting on the Hill by Elizabeth Hand, I will log on to Zoom at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to do the book club meeting. If you are in the Writers Club, right, the Book Writers Club, like the Ribbon Candy Writers Group, I will log on at 5 for that, between 5 and 7, and I will be there for whoever wants to log on and say, listen, I've been working on the table of contents. Does this sound right? Does this make logical sense? Just want to bounce it off another human person. I will be there for that between 5 and 7 if you want to log on. And Otherwise, hopefully I see you tomorrow on Halloween for a look at the Haunted Rug book at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Friday, which will be November 1st, we will have our gallery night, and we are looking at Halloween pieces. We are not looking at ribbon candy hooking haunted rug Halloween pieces. We're looking at all of the other beautiful Halloween pieces from all of the other designers, right? So it's not going to be about me at all on gallery night. We're going to be looking at pieces, any Halloween pieces or autumn pieces that you've hooked. Those go into gallery night this coming Friday, November 1st. Be sure that you send me your pieces for gallery night sooner rather than later. ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. Make sure you send those in. If you are, Rita says Brighton Township. Oh, I'm eavesdropping on your conversation here. If you are interested in putting something into this Magpie Times, it is not too late. I'm still working on 3 different pieces, right? So I'm still working on 3 different pieces for the deadline of November 10th. So, or thereabouts, but not too much after that. So if you're thinking of something for the winter issue of Magpie Times, shoot for November 10th, right? Not too much after that, but be thinking about winter themes, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, any of your sort of pagan, religious, non-religious, any kind of wintertime motifs for Magpie number 4. Again, end date for that, be thinking and striving for November 10th. And then that will be coming out probably at the end of the first week of December. So I will soon put that up for sale, but I am working furiously on getting some of my pieces done for this coming issue of Magpie Times. I hope that I will see you tonight in the Writers Club or in the book club following. I hope that I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. For a pop-up show and a look at the Haunted Rug book on Halloween. And I hope I will see you on Friday night for our monthly gallery night, looking at autumnal and Halloween-themed rugs that absolutely don't have to be ribbon candy hooking. Anything, anybody, anything. I will look forward to seeing you for all of those events in the next few days. I am back. My calendar doesn't look like a shooting gallery anymore. It looks like I can actually handle it. I might sleep and I might see my kids in passing. And I will definitely see you. I will see you next time at Ribbon Candy Hooking. Have